Step inside, let me show you the scene. A syndicate masked in a media sheen. They call it PR, but it's more like a crime. A fortress of lies where the guilty still climb. At the helm, a troll with a history stained. Moves like a ghost, leaves ruin in chains. Squats in the dark, claims what ain't hers. Living off scams, deception occurs. Her man ain't better, he profits from pain. Stripping the helpless, drowning in rain. Hurricane wreckage, pockets get fat. Takes from the weak, never looks back. It's the ecosystem of hate, built to destroy. Spin your truth, turn your past into ploys. A web of deceit, no justice, no grace. They'll rewrite your life, then laugh in your face. Here comes the journo, slithering slick. Sells his own stories, plays every trick. Lays with the victims and twist what they say. A puppet of scandal, a predator's play. Caught in the act, but still he persists. Feeding the cycle with venomous twists. Truth ain't the goal, you about to get played. He'll spin some more lies for only 10K. The ecosystem of hate, built to destroy. Wreck your name, no one will employ. A racket of shadows, a league of sin. They bury your rep before you begin. Watch for the ex-con, fresh out the cage. Extortion and fraud still fuel his rage. Sentences served, but lessons ignored. Grammar's a crime, his words like a sword. A thug with a script, a deal in his fist. Misspells the threats, but you get the gist. Ain't no secret, this guy eats paint chips. For the right price, he'll make up all kinds of shit. And then there's the lawyer, sharp like a hammer. No moral code, belongs in the slammer. Bar complaint stack, but he stays in the game. Turning the law into weapons of shame. Threatens the weak, buries the proof. Twist every case, still fiction's the truth. A master of fear, a shadow in court. Your cries for justice, he'll cut them short. Together they thrive in the filth they create. A kingdom of ruin, a cycle of fate. The puppet, the thief, the fixer, the fraud. A system of demons who play like gods. They don't just lie, they architect doom. Step in their way, you won't leave the room. They'll twist your past, create what you've done. By the time they're through, you'll be no one. Ecosystem of hate, a media storm. They'll break you down in everly form. A syndicate built on power and crime. Their names stay clean, yours fades with time. So watch your step, don't play their game. One slip up and they'll ruin your name. From squire to felon, from lie to snake. They're lost in an ecosystem of hate. So watch your step, don't play their game. One slip up and they'll ruin your name. From squire to felon, from lie to snake. They're lost in an ecosystem of hate.
Well, hello there, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you happen to be. Welcome back to the show. This is Megan Fox Investigates with that umbrella guy. That's right.
What's up, folks? How's it going? Yeah, this is funny. So Megan pops in. She's like, she's going to speak, and she's like, "Hi, how's it going, folks?" I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna turn that off."
I was like, "What's up, Tug? What's going on? Sorry, I'm so late."
Just talking away. She can't hear herself speaking, so it's like, what the
Yeah, sometimes the soundboard gets me. What can I say? I had a very busy day today. I got a couple of texts. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What's What's going on? Like, well, you've just been so quiet all day. Like, oh, right, real life, doctor's appointments, running around. I just had so much to do today. And so I just haven't been in front of my desk or looking at my phone. And then Hangry comes home, and preceding him is an email from school that he's in big trouble today because he mouthed off and he broke something, and just a whole big thing, right? And then I find out also he didn't do his science fair project homework that was due today.
Oh, no.
So on top of the bad report, now I have 3 pages of science fair work to catch up on from 4:30 until just now. Like, literally, that's what we've been working on. And you know what's funny? Because I grounded him from all electronics, I wouldn't let him use a computer. I pulled out his great-grandfather's encyclopedia set. Oh, yes, I did. And I have homeschooling books still, so I pulled out the children's encyclopedia. The rock, it's about his projects about rock formation. I have a rock book of identifying rocks, and I made him go through all the books and find, the references, write his notes, do it all. And he was complaining, and I'm like, do you know how cool this is that you have an encyclopedia set? Like, how many kids today have one? Honestly. And it's from 1960. Is the coolest thing you've ever seen. It's like hardcover, gold leaf, beautiful encyclopedia set. And this kid was like, I'm so bored.
That's good. We have one of those. My daughter's like, I don't want to see that. I'm like, come on, man. That thing is awesome. Are you kidding me?
Then he tells me, when I say, here, write your source down before you write your notes. I want to know what source you're reading from. He's like, what's a source? I'm like, are you serious? Write the title of the book, the author of the book, and the copyright date. And he's like, oh, no, we were told we can't do that. And I'm like, no, you weren't. Write it down. That's absolutely false. I don't know why we need to do this. I'm like, so that you don't get kicked out of school for plagiarism. That's why.
Exactly.
What's plagiarism? It was a whole thing.
What's plagiarism? It's where you don't use AI correctly and you get caught. I mean, wait.
I wouldn't let him use. I made him use an actual Webster's dictionary, like a real book, to look up definitions. I made him use paper research for everything. But I love the fact that I have all of that in my house. I have an entire encyclopedia set. It's so great. I love those. And this is the first time I've actually used it, which is great. So they came in handy. And he's going to be doing all sorts of creative things this week because he will not be on any games.
Yeah, I drug out a typewriter one day just to show the kids, and I thought, man, this is awful. Actually, this is the worst thing ever. I don't ever want to see that thing again.
Okay, so it's funny you should say that. I was writing a book. I have a book that's in process. I've been writing it for years. It'll probably never get done. But the book itself is set in the 80s. It's fiction. And I thought it would be fun because the character in the book is a reporter. I thought it would be fun to go get a word processor like I had in the late 80s, early 90s, and try and type some of it on it.
Oh,
and
no.
I found one at a garage sale. Oh my God, you're not kidding. Like, and this wasn't even like an old school typewriter. It was a word processor, but like it
miserable.
had paper. Absolutely awful. Like I wouldn't go back if you paid me.
No. I like having electronics where I can just change something.
Oh yeah.
Backing
up, like now the word processors did have delete, but it's still like cha-chunk, 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 cha-chunk.
Well, not just that. Look, I can go through like now with AI. I've been playing with it when I write, and it's good because I can upload what I've done, and I can ask it for easy reference. Hey, when I said blah 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 in chapter blah blah blah, how exactly did that come up? And it'll pull up the sentences. I'm like, yeah, easy reference. Also, it can check for not just formatting and tense, but style to make sure that if I started using a style, I don't jack it up.
Yeah, it's really amazing. AI is quite good. If you use it, for good purposes and not cheating in school, it can come in very handy. But I like the aesthetics of the typewriter. I just don't like actually the mechanics of using one.
Yeah, it looks nice. I have to say, it does.
They're
look
beautiful.
Nice.
They're beautiful, and they sound cool. But they're not efficient, not time efficient. They're just very difficult. All right. Speaking of things that are very difficult, because there was a lot of that going on in the last couple days. So over the weekend, and I'm not sure, I didn't listen to any of it because all I did was read the document, but the anti-What the Hale's media ecosystem has gone crazy. And they have read, oh, hang on a second. Yeah, you're noticing I didn't change my name. That's right. I was pretending to be the satire me on what's his name's channel. And so I had that there. Here, we'll change it back to the Fox Mother. There we go. I was pretending to be faux me, which was a lot of fun. I am not that person on Twitter, but it was fun to pretend to be them on YouTube.
You don't even know who that is. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah, I know. There's a satire me on Twitter, and it's driving me crazy that I can't figure out who it is. It's driving me absolutely insane. Because everyone else seems to know who it is except me. It's like the big joke on me that they won't tell me. No one will tell me who it is.
Yeah, I know who it is too. But
I know you do, and no one will tell me. And I keep that account keeps sending me messages like, "Hi, me." It's very funny. It's been making me laugh. Sticky says, "It's me." Sticky Widget, is it you? If it's you, that's very funny. It is very funny. So anyway,
I'll say it's not Sticky, but if it was, I still wouldn't tell you.
Darn it. Oh God, it could be several people for all I know. God, it could be you.
I'm not that motivated.
I accused Slug of being Megan Fopox the other day. And he was like, "Oh my God, no. If it was me, I would be I would insult you way more." I'm like, "That's true. That's very true."
I'm just not that motivated. And you've seen how I send texts. I don't check them. So you'd be able to tell.
So anyway, over the weekend, I guess there was sealed court documents that came out on the anti-What the Hale's media ecosystem. They're sealed divorce records. And one motion, just one motion, not all the records, just one motion was put out there publicly. And they didn't even bother to redact children's names. Typical. They don't redact for privacy. And they will scream, though, like vampires hit with holy water if something goes unredacted on their side. But if it's somebody connected to Jeremy, including his minor children, they don't give a shit. They'll just leave it unredacted. So that motion was put into the court by his, and I never really wanted to talk about Jeremy's divorce case. Let me just say this right off the bat. I don't think it has any relevance to any of this whatsoever. It was 10 years ago or more. And it's a private family matter that has absolutely no business being involved in this particular lawsuit, in this particular struggle.
Oh, beyond that, though. Beyond that, it's a filing. In divorces, you can claim almost anything. That's one of the ugly things about it. You can say whatever, and there will be no ramification for it. So when you get a hold of records, that's why they accuse people of just the most outlandish things possible. Because sometimes it will help you, but you don't actually have to continue forward with it. You're supposed to prove it, but nothing's going to happen to you if you don't prove it. So,
yeah, it's incredible. So they have this one motion that is put in by his ex-wife's attorney. And by the way, I have no desire to talk about someone's divorce case. Like, I wish I didn't have to talk about this. It's so ridiculous. So her attorney puts in a motion, and it's got tons of allegations in it, right? Allegations by a psychologist. Now, I have a lot of experience in this.
Oh, well, I had my own. I had a little bit of.
Tell us about court psychologists.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll tell you about it. How I faced off, and again, I'm softening this because I'm not in the middle of it, okay, right now. So I'm not trying to take shots or anything else. But in Tennessee, they have a thing called a Rule 35. Now, Rule 35 is only supposed to be utilized in extreme cases where there's some kind of question, over a parent having a child there. Now, me, I had both of my girls in my house. I had them with, let's just say, reason. There were police reports that back up reasoning, everything. Again, not trying to be ugly or get into it, but there was no question I should have them there. Judge has no idea what that is. Comes in fact, on the hearing, Rule 35 day, and says, I don't even know what this is about. Literally, that's what he says. Like, I have no idea what this is about. And he lets it happen anyway. So what happens is, instead of bringing in a psychologist, like if I have a psychologist, they're allowed to bring in a psychologist and have them talk to a kid. No, Rule 35 allows them to do psych testing. That allows them to come in your home. They are allowed to have open-ended conversations with your kids without you present, without any adult present at all. And
Scary.
Yeah, it was so bad that I ended up, let's just say, I ended up getting to see the communications you usually don't get to. I got to see the ones on the other side, because hostilities, after everything, after about a year's sobriety and everything else, everything kind of, it went to a place that it didn't need to be in the court right now. It's all pause this moment. But I got to see those communications. These so-called experts, they weren't doing what was in the best benefit of the kids. In fact, one of the things that paused it was because these experts were so willing to do harm to my kids that to get them out of my home, they were willing to, if they couldn't pull them away from me, they were willing to pull them and put them into state custody to get them out of my home, and then try to figure out how to get them into the other parent. So they're rent to own opinions. They mean nothing whatsoever. Now,
right. They do the work of the person paying them usually the most money. It's usually the one paying. And for some reason, courts, they make these agreements where the person with the most money ends up paying the most amount, or they'll take the money because you have to put the money in a trust or whatever. So you have to give them
take it from you.
access to your bank account. So they could actually just take the person with more money. They can take that money and pay to have these people remove the children from you. It's incredible.
Yeah,
and
I've done so
many. I have done so many of these investigations into court psychologists. If you go back and look at all my work in St. Louis, that is all about these corrupt court psychologists. And that's what this motion, talking about Jeremy Hales and the allegations against him, that's what this motion was based on, was a for hire psychologist. But here's when I read it, I'm like, okay, and what was the response? And what was the judge's response? That's what I want to know. Like, what was the outcome? You can't just read one motion and not see the opposing motion and know what the truth is. The truth is going to be somewhere else, right? You're going to have two sides of the story. These people, they constantly complain that we do not tell both sides of this story. Yet we have read every motion in this case written by Bruce on behalf of Preston and Cook. We have read every motion on Jeremy's side. And based on the motions in this case, we formed an opinion on who's telling the truth. And we think it's Jeremy Hales. They, on the other hand, they have done nothing but complain, Tug, that we haven't done our due diligence.
It's worse than that. They say that like courts and convictions aren't real. They don't matter. Remember when these people, like, they have crimes on their records.
Convictions.
And they're all conspiracy. There's some kind of, we don't know what we're talking about there.
Yeah, it's a civil crime, not a criminal court. It's in civil court, actual fraud. No, it isn't. It was criminal. I verified it with the prosecutor. Yeah. You don't get on probation if you're not in criminal trouble.
We got a fraud in it. I mean, we have multiple frauds rather in this stuff. We have an extortionist in this shit. Those people are like, no. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. But accusations.
Stole from hurricane victims. We have a woman who is a serial squatter who got evicted almost 7 or 8 times and taken to court multiple times for her squatting in properties that she shouldn't be in. But when we talk about those cases, suddenly it's, that's not the truth, these court documents. But they want to show you one court document and say, this is the God's honest truth. It's 100% true. Everything in it is true. And they use it as an excuse to call Jeremy Hales an abuser of children. Boy, should they be careful doing that, because they had one motion. Sure enough, Jeremy goes on his live last night. And what does he have? The judge's order.
Of course.
And the judge, the judge
that's
dismissed he dismissed that claim completely. So
yep. Well, that's not surprising.
So the motion doesn't mean anything if it doesn't come to fruition. If the motion is denied, which I understand it was, then you can't point to it and say this is truth.
They don't know. You remember when all the divorce stuff first came up anyway? All they did was look at headers on a sheet of paper. And they were like, oh, this is what this means, or this is what that means. Now they get one filing. And again, I would really be careful if I were certain ones out there. Darth Touch. I would be really careful about going with what accusations. Just that alone, because I seem to have read a few accusations about him, and they're pretty awful things, from a certain woman.
Really awful stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't think
should we read
go with accusations.
Should we read her accusations about him and declare them 100% true?
I mean,
that's what we should do.
I guess that's the way that, that's what I've been told. I haven't been told that's the way it works. So,
well, that is the way that they do things. And then they have the nerve to say things like, I don't vet things and I don't do my homework. It's like, well, you didn't either, because you clearly did not know that the judge denied that motion. So, and yes, it's defamation on defamation, which is compounding the defamation. They think that they have, what's the word I'm looking for? They think that they have, a litigation privilege. Isn't that their phrase? Litigation privilege. Because now I'm involved in a lawsuit for defamation. I can defame someone as much as I want.
What a dumb fucking thing to think, man.
It's so incredible. It's like
I've never heard anybody. I've never heard anyone try to tell me, "Oh, I can just say or do anything I want. I'm in the middle of a lawsuit, so that allows me to do whatever." No, it's not how it works.
No, it's not. And I wonder if any of them have ever Googled litigation privilege to find out what it actually means.
No, it doesn't. They just take the word, anything that comes up, they take the word of someone else. Like if one of the, oh, well, you used to be practicing before, you got caught as a scammer and an extortionist and you lost that.
I'm going to ask Grok. I'm going to say an ex-felon says that litigation privilege gives him the right to defame a man who sued him because he's in the middle of litigation.
I don't know. Grok says some crazy things sometimes. Let's see how sincere it is today.
I want to see what it's going to say. Who sued him? I'm actually going to say for defamation, because that's going to be key. Let's see what Grok says. I'm going to say, is he right? It's so absurd. Mostly, no, says Grok. The ex-felon is not correct.
The ex-felon.
Litigation privilege does not give someone the right to defame another person, even during litigation, and here's why. Litigation privilege protects certain communications made in the course of judicial proceedings, statements in court filings, testimony, or lawyer-client communications from being the basis for a defamation lawsuit. It exists to ensure parties can speak freely in legal proceedings without fear of being sued for what they say in that context. For example, if the ex-felon made a defamatory statement in a court document or during a hearing, that statement might be protected by litigation privilege.
There's the key, though. Might.
Given the ex-felon's claim, it sounds like he misunderstands the scope of litigation privilege. If he's actively defaming the man outside of court proceedings, he could be liable for defamation, especially since the man has already sued him for it, suggesting prior issues. Yep. So, yeah. Maybe Google stuff before you say it and do it. And then follow someone's example. Follow literally a guy who spent 4 years behind bars for the shit. You're following his advice? I just
Of
can't
course
even
they
wrap
are.
my head around how stupid these people are. So
That's
then
what that's what
they
I'm
do a
about.
6-hour
who would
live
you
stream.
take? Who would you take advice from? Would it be like somebody again that was an extortionist, a fraud? They lost their license. Would you be like, yeah, I'm gonna just 100% jump on that? I'm not saying they can't get anything right. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying I would definitely check my homework. Oh,
Oh my
Lord.
God, I would too. By the way, I received a couple of super tips 2 days ago that I missed. And that was when Larry and I were reading through the Judge Grudge complaint. And there's a couple of these that you may not, unless you were there, you won't know the context, but I'm going to play them tonight. But we were talking about a disgraced judge who was kicked off the bench for using a penis pump underneath the
Oh no.
bench. Yeah, for real. For real. So here, I'm going to give you a couple of these super chats because that was the hot topic. Here's one from Rozilla's Realm.
Have you or a loved ever been injured by a penis pump? If so, our operators
no.
are on call to help you through this ordeal. Indeed, if some names the sons do you.
What the heck was that? I don't know
what was that? Oh my God.
I don't know. That sounded like
Sounded like Rickett had a
Latin.
stroke or something.
And Al McKay.
My super tip died. My super tip didn't die.
Oh, perfect. And tonight, let's see, Rozilla's Realm sent this.
Otter Creek, Florida woman calls 911 to break up gambling ring.
This is possible. Starcasm FF, thanks for the 10.
That was so much fun, Megan. My stomach and face still hurts from laughing so hard. This time I made Jay hang up. Lol.
She means the Saturday night watching people stream. That was funny. We were watching bars and also Kensington Avenue, which is a crazy place. Tracy Quinn DeRoche, thanks for the 5.
Fox is tugging along, playing her song and living life. Enjoy.
And Rosalind Duke. By the way, Rosalind has a great new video out today about the pregnancy faker, and it is fantastic. Rosalind, thanks for the 1245. Here comes a bunch of super tips from Rosalind.
My anxiety died over the roof with wrapping up to its crotch.
Shut up, complainer. I got indicted up to my crotch.
You are not a nice person.
That's the nicest thing I've been called all year.
You can make the voices argue with one another. That's so great. And by the way, super tips are satire and parody. These are not real people. These are not real voices. They are computers. So everybody calm your tits. Okay. Thank you for those. By the way, if you want to try the super tip system, it is hilarious. It is supertip.gg/Megan Fox. You can send your super chats as AI and it will read it to us. There are several voices to choose from, and it's a lot of fun. Or you can also send regular text chats that I can read. And the company only takes 10%, which is great. Love that very much. But also, if you don't want to learn new technology, you just want to hang out and do YouTube super chats, I still take those as well. And you are welcome to do it. And I thank you very much. And if you cannot send a super tip or a super chat, that's cool too. Hit that like button and subscribe. Just you being here watching this show helps the algorithm. And I appreciate you, each and every one of you, for your contributions, whether it be hitting a like or subscribe or sending super tips or super chats. Love you guys. Thank you so much. All right. So was there was probably something else you wanted to say about that too, Tug, about the divorce stuff. It's like, you can't. How did sealed documents, by the way, how did a sealed divorce record get to the ecosystem?
Probably somebody involved. That's what I would think. Or, I mean, I can think of some more nefarious reasons why, but that would be my first guess, honestly. I mean, I can't.
If it wasn't one of the
I don't
parties,
know 100%.
If it wasn't one of the parties, and it was, let's say, an attorney who accessed records he shouldn't have been able to access in order to leak it to media, that's a problem.
Yeah, that would be a real problem. Real problem. So, again, I can't say who though. So, I mean, that's just, but yeah, those things are not supposed to be out in public anyway because they involve kids. But again, it's very fascinating to me that we hear all of this stuff about red flags. So they are worried about accusations alone that involve kids, but they're not worried about the accusations of the caregiver saying yes, indeed, to other people. They don't care about that specific one. They only care about Jeremy Hales. That's the only person because they want to ruin his life. I mean, that just proves plenty of things there. It's never about kids, never was about helping them, never was about fucking setting things right. It's just about ruining Jeremy Hales.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's not about, if you really wanted to know what happened in the divorce, you would get more than one motion. But they picked out the most damaging motion, I think, that they could find. One that was not granted, one that was not followed by the judge, without telling you that. And
Well, we
use
already
that.
know. So in this case alone, for Preston, either she's not safeguarded the kid or she's made false statements. So we know that she's made statements about every person that anybody we've heard about anything involving divorces, old relations. They've all been accused of something. Even people that, have just tried to help out. Those people catch it too. But I mean, if we're wanting to talk about people and their kids and the aftermath, I mean, do they really want to go down that road? Is that really one they want to? Because there's some stuff there. Oh, well, they were talking about, Preston was talking about their kid who was addicted to drugs the other day in a chat. And she was out there just talking about it. And I was like, that's probably not good parenting. We've had another kid make accusations. So again, is that really the road they want to take? They want to take one document out there and they want to roll with that. Okay. All right. I mean, it just opens up the doors for all kinds of other shit.
It does. And I really don't know what his divorce has to do with any of this. How does it answer the question, was Jeremy Hales defamed?
I think it does answer the question of Jeremy Hales being defamed because, again, they're willing to just grab onto one ass thing. Oh, I heard this right here. This one document. It says what I want to hear. Therefore, so I think that says plenty about defamation.
Well, true. But also, though, them just trying to dig this stuff up that has no relevance whatsoever to the case he's in, really bothers me. It's like, what are we even talking about?
By the way, we have a monster storm.
I just heard that. Was that was that thunder?
That is. Yes,
okay. Well, did you happen to see? And I thought I had it in my email, but now I'm not finding it. Did you happen to see the post? I believe it was on the Facebook page. I'm searching it right now. Actually, there was a post about the bar complaint about Bruce responding to the bar complaint. Did you see? Did you see that? Somebody emailed it to us, and I cannot find it. And it's so good. Basically, the source who I spoke to, who told me she was, filing a bar complaint because Bruce went after her employer, tried to have her fired just for speaking about this on a Northport page. He has now replied to that bar complaint. And according to her post, it is insane. And I want to find that post and read what she said about it. And it's driving me crazy that I can't find it. Oh, I gotta ask somebody to send it to me again.
Yeah, somebody send that over to Megan, please. I don't remember.
Hold on. All right. I should be getting it in a couple of minutes, but that should be so good. I mean, her description of it is so funny. And she's basically saying, I'm not going to have any more to say about this, only that he did respond, and his response is terrible. His response he doesn't deny it. I remember that standing out, that he didn't deny any of it. And he has no legal argument for it. And he's basically just, I guess, saying, yeah, I did that. So what? Which
that's wild.
That's
man.
one way to do it. That's one way to do it.
That's wild. To be like, yep, don't care. Sorry about your luck.
Isn't that something?
Well, I mean, it just shows you like he's just gotten away with I mean, he's gotten away with everything so far, honestly, unless something happened that I'm not aware of. He's pretty much walked away from it all. So what lesson do you take from that?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, okay, I found it. This is so funny. All right. I do not want to I'm not going to put it up on the screen because I'm not going to put this person's name out there. Some of you who, those of you who've been following closely, you might know what it is, but I'm just not going to do that on this show. All right. So it says this. Wait, where did it go? Wait a minute. See post. I hate Facebook sometimes. I swear to God.
I hate Facebook all the time, honestly.
Why doesn't it just open like a normal page? Why do I have to go through all of this shit? Ah, God. Wait, all comments. And why does it do most relevant comments? Just give me all the comments.
That. Yeah, just give them to me, period. I shouldn't have to set it up. Actually, what's weird is between the app and on my desktop, it shows me different things too. So on the desktop, if I go through, say I have 35 comments on there and I put show all, you should see 35, right? Well, I may have 20 on my desktop and I may have 29 on the app. I still don't have all the comments, which, it could be blocking or something. I get it. But there will be different counts depending on, it's the same account I'm on. I'm still on my account, but it's showing me different from my phone versus my freaking desktop.
I hate that. I just hate everything about Facebook. Okay. I was able to cut her name off here. So, all right, here we go. This was on somebody's post, and this person up at the top is not the person who wrote this. To provide clarity and ensure that no misinformation is spread, I'd like to shed some light on the situation referenced in your post. I am the woman mentioned, and yes, the Connecticut Grievance Panel has confirmed that the matter is moving forward. Oh wow. Boy. That's big news. We didn't know that, because once you file a complaint, a lot of times they will just dismiss it outright. But if it goes forward, that means they found probable cause.
Well, and I mean, Bruce, he's probably not their favorite person. I'm just going to think that maybe,
You think yeah. With all the crap he's put them through. It says, and that my complaint against Mr. Manskin will be heard at a future meeting of the panel. Mr. Manskin has submitted a response to my complaint, which I find to be intentionally misleading, inaccurate, and defamatory. His answer includes multiple false and unsupported statements that appear calculated to discredit and divert attention from his own conduct. For context, rather than addressing the specific concerns raised in my complaint, Mr. Manskin chose to launch a series of personal attacks, distortions, and speculative narratives, including name-calling and defamatory accusations that have no basis in fact. His written response...
Name-calling? Oh my God, this is amazing. I've got to see this. Oh my God, I need it in my life.
I know. Name-calling, personal attacks, unbelievable. And speculative narratives, including name-calling and defamatory accusations that have no basis in fact. Sounds like his legal motions. His written response reduces a legitimate grievance about professional misconduct into a dismissive story involving YouTube drama and online conspiracies, going so far as to mock me for seeking accountability. These tactics... Yeah, these tactics seem designed to deflect from the real issue, his inappropriate and retaliatory conduct as an officer of the court. At the court, he did this to a woman who works at a law firm, by the way. It's incredible to me that he attempted to do this to a woman who has an office full of lawyers at her disposal.
Yes, and somebody that might actually have some real legal understanding, If she doesn't have it on her own authority, I'm sure, like you said, she has access to other people that do.
Exactly. At the core of this complaint is Mr. Manskin's retaliatory and improper contact with my employer, during which he knowingly made false and damaging claims with the apparent intent to harm my professional reputation. In my view, this action had no legitimate legal basis and constitutes a serious violation of the rules of professional conduct. Now that the matter will be heard, I trust the grievance panel will review the facts thoroughly and take appropriate disciplinary action. As for me, I have no intention of engaging in the public spectacle Mr. Manskin seems to have hoped for in his response. I will not give him the attention or platform he appears to be seeking. Out of respect for the process, I will refrain from making further public comment until the grievance is formally heard and resolved through the appropriate channels. Thank you.
Oh, until. Thank you, lady. Yeah, we definitely we want to hear from you afterwards for sure.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I think that she's right. I think that she has an excellent complaint, and obviously so did the bar, because it wouldn't be moving forward if they didn't. And that is the way that works.
I mean, she decides because somebody. I mean, what? First of all, let's really be honest about what actually happened here. You know, the level of her involvement. Somebody posted and said, "Hey, do you know this person over here?" Yeah, yeah, I know who that person is. You know, we had some problems back when. They're talking about a first-hand experience. So Bruce decides he's going to shove himself in this, but he doesn't just shove himself in. He shoves himself in making a public comment. But before that public comment, he actually called these people's employer. Before he even commented on anything, he made contact with their employer. What a whack job, man.
Oh, yeah. A total whack job. And I mean, we have those screenshots somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
If I could remember where we put them.
They're in the Northport folder.
Oh, yeah, Northport.
Remember, we went through all that one time.
We did, but it was so long ago. It might be kind of fun to pull it up.
We went through the making sure they were there. Is what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Here they are. They're in here. No, that one's the cease and desist.
There's a big chain of them.
Oh, God, there's so many.
Let me see.
Let's see. There,
I can
was
look
it?
Too.
Oh yeah, here. There's a bunch. Let's see.
Yeah, there should be. Like if I've taken.
I might have put it under Bruce though, because it was him. Witness intimidation. I might have put it under that.
Well, look in there.
God,
Maybe under both. Maybe under both though.
I don't know. There's so much because Bruce has done so many bad things.
Well, this case is so crazy. That's the thing. I've been going for weeks now. I can see the end of this project I've been doing, but I've been going through everything that I've screenshot, that I have in my computer because I was curious about what all this stuff is. I wanted to be able to find some of the accusations that Bruce had made, but also I wanted to be able to find accusations that Preston had made, things that I would I'm just gonna call them red flags, that kind of stuff. That way, since they say they're going to continue to sue, I have that stuff ready and willing, It's like, well, actually, you've made these comments here about this guy, so maybe I should have a reason to be concerned, that kind of thing.
This all started when Robin Miller posted something about in the Northport page. If anybody has any info on these people, let me know. So it wasn't even the source that he went after. This, though, he sends a message to one of the admins who is the person he started harassing, not Robin Miller. And he says, I see you're an admin of the Northport City Concerns. This post by Robin Miller is very serious and problematic, seeking info about my clients who are private individuals. Please reply confirming removal of the post ASAP. And of course, he didn't wait for any reply. He also reached out to her employer.
Right away, man.
Right away. And
I found that post.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Cool. Pull it up.
Give me 1 second. Because I found where he's responding to, first of all, I found his response in the way that she comes in. Now, her name's on it, but I mean, this has been out there a million times, so it won't hurt anything. So check this out here. So here's where Bruce comes in, and he's tagging in this person here. And he's like, hey, in case you're not aware, this post is part of a campaign of cyber stalking and harassing these people for YouTube content from What the Hales with Megalodonus Foe, that Umbrella Guh, and others. You're
Guh.
assisting this.
That umbrella guh. Oh, that's funny.
You work in a law firm, and now this is your first clue that something's going on. You work in a law firm and should know better. Like that right there. It's like, wait a minute. Now she responds. Now I'm going to pull up the entire response. It clipped off a little bit there, so I'm going to make sure I've got it all on the screen. All right, so pull it up another screen.
And by the way, all she said was, yes, we remember them. It was basically like, yes, I remember them. And there might be people here who have stories. This, by the way, is completely 100% legal for people to look for information on anyone. It's called journalism. And if people are willing to share, they're allowed to.
First-hand experience, like their first-hand accounts where these people live there. And we get this back. Hey, Bruce, tagging him in there at the top. I'm having difficulty understanding how this post or comment I made is relevant to where I work. Or why you felt the need to contact my employer in writing. Say that an employee assisting YouTube channels in digging up quote unquote dirt on private individuals, specifically those named by What the Hell's channel for bad neighbor content storyline. What craziness. You also stated, quote, this is an extremely serious matter that is being followed by tens of thousands of fans on YouTube. That's crazy, man. What a fucking nut job. He's crazy. He's crazy. Thought I heard a kid.
Yeah, full on certifiable.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to make sure there's not a kid hiding in this room with me.
Okay.
Let me see. I thought I heard one.
All right. While you do that, I'll play some super tips because we have some to play.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second. I thought I heard one slip in. Yeah,
okay.
It won't take me long.
All right. Robert, thanks for the 5.
Penis pumps are nothing to joke about. I got pregnant by one.
Oh, God. And Allie S., thanks for the 5.
I'm on my blue bucket and the turtle head is poking out.
Oh, gross. Thanks for the 5, Donna Shepherd.
I object. I think LO and LM now P plus Q are long lost sisters from another Mr. in Mother.
Yes, I have also had those thoughts. And Rosalind Duke, thanks for the $9. There's a series. Was she in there?
Yes.
Was she hiding?
Yes. I told her she couldn't come down here because the stuff we're talking about today. I thought the divorce stuff, and I was talking about some stuff in my own life the kids don't need to be privy to. And when I talk, I want to, here's the other thing, I guess, with Jeremy that I would probably note too. You usually get to a point in your life, even if things aren't settled, those things, it's really hard to bring that stuff up in any conducive way. Because if you bring it up, you're not trying to do harm to anybody. It's at a place. It's at where it is. Best case scenario, it's at a good place, and you don't want to have any problems. Worst case scenario, it's just at a place that it's resting finally, and you don't want to stir up any dirt. But either way, that puts you in a bad predicament. These people have been contacting them and everything else too. They've gone out of their way to contact his family. It's just craziness.
I know, it's outrageous. Rosalind Duke's got another one here. It's a series of them. Thanks for the $9, Rosalind.
Oh my God, boomers. Don't even get me started about comments.
You idiot. Just write your own comments.
You both need Jesus or a PR team.
God, I love making the voices argue with one another. That's so fun.
Oh my God.
Oh,
that's funny.
And then Sticky Widget, thanks for the 5.
Megan, early is late. On time is late. 17 minutes late is you are grounded.
Listen, blame the Science Fair Project, okay? Blame the Science Fair Project. I was working on that with him for the last 3 hours, and it was only the first It was only the first assignment in the whole thing. Imagine what my next couple of months is going to be like getting ready for this thing.
Yeah, Megan even
God.
texted me and she was like, I'm gonna be late. And I was like, I texted her back. I was like, well, you got 15 minutes. People know that. You know? So that was pretty funny.
I know. I'm gonna hit some of these super chats too that we got that came in the beginning, and then we're gonna go over. Oh wait, did you finish reading the?
Did you want to read all the way to the bottom on that?
Yeah. Let's finish reading that, and then we're gonna read through John Cook's motion that got struck because I haven't read it yet.
Oh yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, we definitely need to talk about that one for sure. You and I do.
I know we do because I haven't even read it yet. So
it's not just that. It's a what kind of here's the thing. What kind of motion did the judge say he didn't want to see again?
He didn't want to see any motions, but he definitely didn't want to see summary judgment motions.
Yeah, so I mean, we get that. We also get it's frozen. You're not supposed to be filing anything, so we got a double whammy on it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, there's something wrong with their comprehension skills, but I heard there's a footnote in it I really need to pay attention to. So we'll see. Rosilla's Realm, member for 8 months, says, here we go again. That's right. Every night. Second verse, same as the first. PDW, thanks for the $4 super sticker. I appreciate that. And Casey Cole became a YouTube member. Welcome to the Fox Den. You are in the Fox cartel now. You ain't getting out. You are in, whether you wanted to be or not. Now you're here. Green Veggie Beast, thanks for the 5. York, late again. I think that's supposed to say you're late again. You're late again. I know. I'm always late. Dwayne Rapp, member for 2 months. I'm glad still here. I'm glad you're still here too. Sandra Fitch, member for 3 months. Happy day, y'all. Got approved at SSA for widows benefits. Oh, good. I missed the dear husband, but happy for the benefit. Well, you deserve it, and you qualified for it. It's yours, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it makes your life easier because losing your husband is really tough. Really, really tough. Max Lab, thanks for the 2. Hey, Megan and Tug, the ecosystem is insane. I know. We know.
Oh, yes, that is true.
It's crazy. Fallen Hero 4567 gifted 1 Megan Fox membership. Welcome. Welcome to the Fox Mob, whoever got that. You are our newest soldier. And I will have lots of orders for you to follow soon. Be the Bland One, thanks for the 2. Finally, the 80s now makes sense. It was all fiction. Stargasm FF, thanks for the $9.99. Hi, Fox Mother and Tug Father. How do you know if your super tips went through? Well, I already played yours. Did you miss it? That's how you know. I'll play them. I did play yours. In fact, here, I'll show you. I can play it again. That's one thing I really like about Super Tip is that I can play it again. Here it is.
That was so much fun, Megan. My stomach and face still hurts from laughing so hard. This time I made Jay hang up. Lol.
It's fun that you can go back and see them, like if you miss them. It's a cool thing, and I like it. Buck Naked, thanks for the 2. Never let your judgment be clouded by facts. Yeah.
That's funny. That pretty much does define them, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And Sweetfly is a member for 2 months. Thanks for being a member. It says, hello, Megan and Tug. Well, hello there, Sweetfly. I like your icon. That's fun. Jack Miles has been a member for 5 months. Jeremy slammed the circus with facts, including Lynette getting served. Right. That we missed that bit of news. He said she was finally served on the, I guess that would be for the.
That'd be the 55,000. I don't know what to call that.
Fed 2?
No. Is he talking Fed 2 or is he talking about the Granger case?
I actually don't know. It could be either one. There's so many.
Wait, let's see. No, they filed. Actually, they filed in Fed 2.
Judge Davis. So, it was Judge Davis, so it had to be.
That would be Granger.
Granger.
What do we call that? What is that case called? Because it's an offshoot of Trespass 5, but it's Granger versus.
Yeah, right. We did read that, but we didn't. We haven't. There hasn't been any.
I don't know what to
movement
call
on
it. You know.
I think we should just call it Granger and Granger. That sticks.
Granger Square.
Granger squared. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. The trespass. That would be the trespass revenge. Trespass is revenge.
I don't
Lisa
know. People
Carpenter,
might get
thanks for
confused
the
on that one.
5.
I think
I
it's
know.
still part of that case.
Well, it's kind of an offshoot, right? It's a response to
It
that
is.
case.
It is.
It's a separate case, but it's based on the actions in that case. Lisa Carpenter, thanks to the 5. My ex and attorney argued that was bad because I had family support, took the kids to Mickey D's, had them in recreational sports, and I would be devastated to lose. You know, divorces and custody battles are just hell. They just are hell. And I'm glad I'm
The
not
only
covering
people
them
that
anymore.
win, yeah. The
Are
only
the
people that
lawyers.
win are and the system.
And the court
they get money
professionals.
too. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
I have
But
my
the
favorites.
kids never win.
No, they don't. The lawyers and the psychologists, all those court-appointed supervisors, they all win.
You know what? Okay, I mean this is disturbing. Do you know how much one of those experts? You know why they'll say whatever they want? Do you know how much they cost these days?
God, yeah. Tell them you won't.
Yeah,
believe
so
it, you guys.
I had to fight to get this set. This is a lower rate, by the way, and it does not include travel or court expense, but it was capped at $15,000. That's for one person. $15,000, and no
And you
wonder
got
they
a
were-
deal. You got a deal because Evita
Yes,
Tolu.
that was with a capped cost because of the Rule 35, because there was really no reason to have it. But the judge treated it, like I said, like it was just another therapist or something. See, the judges, they half the time, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So they end up allowing things. I mean, we've seen that in these cases. We saw that happen with the grudge judge. What the hell was he doing? You know?
There were parents in St. Louis who paid a man named Dr. Reed, who was the court-appointed psychologist. He was a favorite in the St. Louis court. They paid him between $30,000 and $150,000 each.
Yeah, these people.
You got a
usually-
deal.
Their contract was, I was like, fuck these people. I'm not paying them. Actually, what was really messed up about it too, so there were stipulations in their contract. And I filed and made a judge make me sign this paper because he was like, you had to have them come and fine. Well, in their contract, though, they demanded, number one, you cannot audio or video record what they do. Now, in my state, I can. I'm just a one-party state. And if they come in my house, they're going to do that. I have cameras. They will record. So fuck that. First of all. But it also, there was a clause in there that essentially said, even if they are found to do something wrongful on their side, they willfully did something wrong, that I agree that I will only sue them for how much money I paid them. It was in their
that's
contract.
crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, could you imagine that with a contractor? Like, hey, if I build your house assed up and it falls in on you, you'll only sue me for how much money you paid me. No way. So I was like,
No way.
A court made me sign that. They
That's
did. But I was like,
crazy.
I'm not signing that on my own. You will make me sign that thing, because if they do
That's
something,
awful.
I still have time. I have their emails, and they're supposed to be impartial, and they
definitely weren't.
Yeah.
I have my
thought about
favorites.
suing.
Tammy's Cuz, thanks for being a member for 5 months, says all they are doing is pouring gasoline onto a fire. Agreed. And Jack's mom, thanks for the 10, says I felt so uncomfortable listening to Jeremy talk about his divorce last night. It's a true invasion of something so private. Where are LP's 7 divorce papers? Why isn't the ecosystem diving into those? Right. I mean, but then again, I'm not even sure that I would want to see her divorce papers. Because
let's do it. Come on now. I mean, it's all fun. It's all fun and games, right? Let's play games and let's have fun.
That wouldn't have been something I would have been looking for in this case. I did go specifically looking for records with child services in her, because she said publicly on Facebook that CPS has taken children from her. So I wanted to see why, because there's a child involved in this case that everybody's worried about. And that was relevant to this case. But is a random divorce from one of her 7 husbands relevant to this case? I don't know. Maybe, but that isn't what I've
accused them.
That isn't. Yeah, that depends on what she's accused them of. But I have not been looking for that. That's not something I went looking for. I haven't tried to contact any of her ex-husbands, any of that. Like, that's crazy to me. But also, I was uncomfortable listening to him talk about it too, because I feel like he shouldn't have had to. He should not have to talk about it. Plus, think about the personal ramifications for him. He already had a contentious divorce that he said lasted for 10 years. He now is in a situation where he has children with this woman. He still has to, talk with her, work out things with her. And he's now in this position where he has to talk about these very private things. If she's not the one who dumped that document, that could cause a whole row between them again for no reason.
Even if she is, I mean, it puts you in a weird predicament because, that's what I'm like. I'm in a place in my life where when I'm talking about this stuff, for me, things are in a okay place. Everything's paused, sobriety came in, good things. People can have that. But even then, I don't want to talk about because I don't want to undo anything. So I'm careful about what I'm saying. If it were contentious to that level, holy shit, man. It's like walking through a minefield. He wouldn't do this on his own. He would never talk, and he never has. That's the thing.
No, he's never talked about it. And it's like they're forcing him to do this thing that could have serious repercussions for him in his personal life with both his children and his ex. And it's not fair. And I think it's not fair to his ex-wife either. It's really not fair that these people are bringing this stuff up. Whether or not
drive him to the ground. That's what they want to do. They want to drive him to some terrible place. That's what they want. I mean, it's just straight up. That's what they're aiming for. They want to put him in the ground. That's why I'll admittedly say that typically I don't do a lot of contact with people, but after stuff like that comes up, I will hit up Hales and be like, yo, dude, are you okay? Because this kind of stuff, it's been going on a long time and it'll get in your head. It will. And I try to make sure that he's in good headspace because, he puts on a good face, but this stuff gets to you.
Oh, yeah, it's awful. Imagine having all these people know about something that was super painful and private and sealed. Like, it just makes no sense whatsoever. And it's not right. It's very wrong that they're doing that. So they should stop. All right. So you have the motion, I believe, the one from John.
Yeah. You want to finish that screenshot first?
Oh, yeah. Let's finish that one.
All right, give me 1 second.
Because I think,
that completionist portion in me is like, read it.
Read it. Yeah, that's fine. You can read it.
If you have concerns about my comments or posts in this group, there were several other appropriate ways to address it. Yes, I agree. Could have contacted. That's what she's saying. You could have done anything but contact my employer. You could have contacted me directly, so that he didn't. He didn't do that. Reported the comment, post to any kind of group administrator that would have included her, so she would have known it was happened for review, or even raise the issue with Facebook. However, you chose to contact my employer. I must express that I find your decision to do so highly unprofessional and unethical, especially given your role as an attorney. As a legal professional, I would expect that you are aware of the proper channels for addressing concerns. Reaching out to my employer without prior communication or context was not only inappropriate, but it could also be viewed as an attempt to interfere with my professional standing without justification. Indeed, that's a great argument, and the bar may actually agree. I understand that you may have concerns, but I would appreciate if moving forward you would address them directly with me rather than involving my employer in a matter that is unrelated to my work or conduct. I also understand that contacting someone's employer may be your usual practice to intimidate or suppress free speech, but I do not believe this approach is appropriate.
Yeah, it isn't.
She hammered him.
She told him, boy. But yeah, why don't we go on to the and I can't wait, by the way, to read his reply. Eventually it will it will be made public. We just have to wait until the disciplinary action is over.
Okay, to make this clear too, there were actually 2 things filed, but they were the same document. This is going to be a very fun pro se little dilly that we're going to see. You know why they had to file it again? Because check this out. So this was their first attempt, and you'll notice their email certification there says they emailed this on May blank 2025. Whoopsie. So
You might want to fill that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a screw
Okay.
up. So they did put that in there. Apparently, apparently all they did was mail him. By the way, they still haven't filed out the time limit. So Randy obviously is not going to be in communication with them yet. So I very much doubt they did anything beyond just mailing it. They didn't try to confer or anything like that.
Right.
Now,
Oh wait, we got to put it up on the screen. Here we go. All right.
Okay, now give me 1 second here. Now, what's fascinating is when you look at this too, John Cook added, let me shrink this up. I'll embiggen it again. But you notice the motion here? Okay, well, he put a cover sheet on it, essentially. He took what is Bruce's filing and he put a cover sheet on it. Because here, and he put or had Bruce put, I would say, probably a footnote right off the bat. So you notice that little
Okay.
footnote.
Let's see the footnote.
Memorandum in support. Let's look at
I heard the. Oh my God. Does anybody believe this? Does anybody believe that this memorandum was prepared by my former counsel prior to being discharged? I don't believe that.
Actually, I think this is the one that he wanted to file. I think he probably did prepare it beforehand because okay, you remember in his answers. Give me a second. Let me pull this up here.
But is the judge going to accept? I mean, he didn't accept it.
No, he struck it straight up.
He straight up struck it. So like, does that mean though that they can refile it because he struck it because
they can they can refile it, yeah, but the judge doesn't want summary judgment. This is a terrible argument anyway. It's shitty. It's terrible. And luckily,
how many pages is it?
It's about 12, and then it's got.
They had a 5-page limit. They were told 5 pages. That no motion should be more than 5 pages. So they're just not listening again. Like,
well,
okay.
Yeah. Well, and it proves Bruce never was planning to listen either because it was prepared by Bruce. He 100% prepared it.
So,
and I believe this was his big, this was his, okay, you remember, give me 1 minute. I'm finding the page. So you remember when he wanted to withdraw and this is the filing that they were talking about in his show cause answer. I'm sure of it. I know this has to be it because he said, and I quote here, the undersigned's withdrawal can be postponed pending summary judgment. Okay, so listen to this sentence right here. The undersigned and the defendant request that the court postpone issuing an order in response to the withdrawal of counsel, that'd be Doc 126, until after the outcome of a to-be filed motion for summary judgment. That's this. All of the undersigned's litigation work was in preparation for a summary judgment motion on any claims. So that's this. That's what this is. He's been setting on it, and he had them file it, even though the judge specifically said
look at the next sentence with discovery complete.
Yeah.
Your discovery isn't complete. You didn't give any you were supposed to give over.
Not just that, Randy. So luckily we did get to read the April the 3rd hearing because in that Randy was like, hey, I've got this thing. It's for discovery. And I'm sure it's it's going to be pretty spicy, I imagine, because they didn't turn anything over. But he was like, Judge, I've got this thing with discovery. I need to turn this in. We've had it for weeks now. We've just been waiting for the appropriate time. So that's going to be the first thing that hits. There is no discovery completion.
And that should be, that's coming up this week, by the way. The 30 days is going to end on, I believe, the 14th, which would be, what day is today? Today's the 12th. So that means Wednesday.
That means, I might have it for my birthday. My birthday's
Yes.
Yeah, Randy, give me a birthday present. That would be beautiful.
Yep.
Pull that other document
Wednesday. So this case is about to get hot again. Which it feels like it never slowed down. We had a 30-day stay, and there was stuff for us to talk about.
I can't
every
believe
day
it's been
still.
30 days. I actually can't
I
because
know.
I still haven't gotten to the half the stuff I said I wanted to. Jeremy still has a video I want to review of his, and I still have a Shara video I want to review.
The judge still has not ruled on the sanctions for Bruce, and he's gotten very cocky because of that.
Yeah, he doesn't figure anything's going to happen.
He's going to get away with it. He thinks nothing's going to happen to him and that he got away with it by dropping out of the case. That's what he thinks.
Until I see something happen, I believe it too. Until
I believe it too. I do too. I think maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's right. I think maybe the judge doesn't want to deal with him and he doesn't have to anymore because he's not in the case.
So you want to look at something. Let me make sure no address pops up on this. It's redacted, but I just want to make sure. Okay, you want to. This is their big bombshell. There's an exhibit out of here. That's their big thing. All right. This is what they think is their big smoking gun. You want to see this? Yeah. We'll just skip to that one. So,
of course I do.
This is a Whatnot email. Now they think that
this is crazy.
Yeah, they think that this means something. You know what it means? First of all, interestingly enough, is that Whatnot had communications with Bruce. I would be very interested in knowing what those were because I just get the feeling they probably weren't shared. So I'd really love to see exactly what was stated. But their big smoking gun, they think here. So Whatnot, they've conducted a search for a specific contract between Whatnot and Jeremy Hale's. Whatnot has identified the primary account associated with Mr. Hale's activity, which has the account What the Hell's. Whatnot has not identified any accounts belonging to John Cook and Michelle Preston with addresses in the state of Florida. Okay. Whatnot has not identified any communications from a John Cook or
Wait a
Michelle
minute. What does
Preston.
caveat to be determined on call mean?
I don't know. That's very interesting. We don't.
Wait,
know
they
what that
haven't
means yet.
identified any accounts belonging to them, but there's a caveat to discuss on a call, not in this email.
Well, there's fascinatingly enough when you get past they wanted to focus on these two bullet points. First of all, what this is telling me is, okay, when people were going after Hale's, they didn't use their specific names. All right. Well, we already know from one of the Shara messages with John Cook that John Cook was creating sock puppet accounts. We know that. You know, he was talking about going and harassing, not to Whatnot, but he was saying that period. So we know for a fact, it's been confirmed, they were using sock puppet accounts. They're also saying, you know, that it would have had to be registered addresses in the state of Florida. Okay. So really? They would have to register it correctly. Like, oh, a John Cook. Oh, in Florida too. All right. Well, they don't have that. But let's check this part out, which they kind of leave out of their discussions. Whatnot has identified various user reports regarding Mr. Hale's conduct using his Whatnot account and evaluated these reports under our policies and took appropriate action. So they did get those. I wonder what. Well, at least one user report mentioned Mr. Hale's using his Whatnot account in a manner which was described as an attempt to bully Michelle Preston. Caveat again, to be.
It was probably Bruce.
I'm curious who it was. So that's fascinating, though. This is their big smoking gun. That's it. That was supposed to be, oh, well, you can't prove that they interfered. This is what they had: 4-hour live streams over and more. This right here.
This is so nuts.
It's nothing. Like, it even admits, yes, there have been contacts. There have been people that have tried to utilize the Preston name. And, you know, to say that they were doing it under their own name. Okay. Well, interestingly, we do have proof that that 2Ls, they were brigading against the Whatnot account. You know, they were telling people to go and to flag it. They were brazen about it.
They were. They absolutely were.
Oh, I found something funny the other day. By the way, I just want to point this out because I find this really funny. This is shiny squirrel, I get it, but I still want to show this to you real fast.
Okay.
I've been organizing everything, you know, going through all my screenshots. And I found this old screenshot that I thought was really interesting. So let's make sure it gets on the screen. All right. So this is Marla, Bruce, Shara. Marla is complaining because of Shara. And this is back when, this is way before, but it's fascinating because here, Bruce, he's taking up for Shara, because Shara's a great person then, he's telling Marla to shut
He
it.
tells Marla to shut up. You have no authority. Stop interfering. Oh, that's
Because
funny.
it's like, I don't like that you're speaking to Shara as a representative for Michelle Prisoner John Cook. She's not and gets things wrong. And Bruce is like, you have no authority. Please stop interfering. And Shara's like, what? What's up? And you can see her just complaining. Oh, no, you can't. But Bruce, again, it's fascinating. So he considered her an authority on Michelle Preston and John Cook. Isn't that fascinating?
He sure
did. When I read
did.
across that, I was like, wow, that is pretty interesting.
And for the first time in my life, I agree with him. I think she is an authority on them.
Yeah. Doesn't that hurt when you say that?
Yeah.
You get
agreeing with him hurts. Yeah. But giving Shara the props she deserves doesn't hurt. That she deserves it. She put in the work. And she has a lot of information.
I found other accusations that Preston has made about John Cook too. Some that I've forgotten. I think I found 5 so far. God. Yeah, so it's interesting. I've been, trying to load up on them. Let me roll this to the first page. I might let you want to read this whole thing?
Yeah. Well, we'll try.
It's 12 pages. I mean, it's not.
We're not going to get through 12 pages. Maybe we will. We'll try.
Yeah. You want to start then? I'm going to run somebody off real fast. Hi, by the way.
Hi.
Yeah, so you're hi. I'm muted. So you read that one. Okay.
I'll start reading. Standard for FRCP 56 motion for summary judgment. When the non-moving party has the burden of proof at trial to prevail at summary judgment, the moving party has the burden of either negating an essential element of the non-moving party's case or showing that there is no evidence to prove a fact necessary to the non-moving party's case. See Clark v. Coates and Clark, Inc. If the moving party shows an absence of evidence of a material fact, the burden of production shifts to the non-moving party, who must identify evidence in the record or present additional evidence sufficient to withstand a directed verdict motion at trial based on the alleged evidentiary deficiency. Okay.
She had perfume on. I was like, what have you been doing?
Oh, no.
She was like, I wanted to smell good. I was like, you sprayed it. She's like, I just sprayed it 3 or 4 times, Dad. I was like, oh my Lord.
That's too much.
Yes. I was like, oh God, help me. I was like, please get out of this room. It's too much.
It's too much.
She's like, it smells pretty. I was like, yeah, you smell pretty something. Yeah. Ooh, man. Oh, Lord. It's still lingering too.
Oh, no. And it will for a while.
So here's the thing. Like this whole filing through here, I don't even know if we should. All of this is just case quotes right here.
Case
Look,
law.
it's solid case quotes all the way to. Then he describes what defamation. Now, this actually is, I think, important in here.
Okay. Well, then let's read that. You go ahead and read that.
So defamation under Florida law has 5 elements. Again, publication, falsity, statement was made with knowledge or, keep that more, reckless disregard as to the falsity on matters concerning a public official or at least negligent on a matter concerning a private person. There's actual damages and the statement must be defamatory. See, I think that, a lot of people say, oh, that's defamation, but they don't know what it is. So I think the defamation definition is actually useful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're saying, this is fascinating to me. The argument here is, so what if he did it? That's going to be the argument here. So count 2, it is. Check this out. Count 2 of the complaint claims that defendant Cook defamed the plaintiff. The factual support for this claim, the defendant, is single alleged statement. Defendant Cook, quote, publicly stated falsely on Facebook that Hale's fiance had oral, I'm just going to go with that word.
Arguments.
Yes, oral arguments, and he has photos to prove it, which statement quoted as a footnote as, you notice they like to put this stuff in more documents, by the way. They want to put it in there to cause problems. So they put in the quote. We've all seen the rooster quote, I'm sure, by now. So we don't need to read that again. It is not defamatory of the plaintiff Hales for a defendant Cook to write on Facebook, that statement there, assuming this was a false statement of fact, that George appeared in a photo performing oral arguments on Cook. If anyone would be defamed, it would be George, not the plaintiff.
That's not true. That's not true. Jeremy Hales is defamed through that suggestion because George is his girlfriend and at the time, maybe fiance. I'm not sure when that exactly happened. But yes, that defames Jeremy. It casts aspersions on his relationship. And by the way, a classic defamation claim is about making sexual allegations against someone. That is classic defamation. That's like as classic as calling somebody a PDF file. If you suggest that someone is having a clandestine or illicit affair with someone else and it isn't true, you can be sued successfully for that.
Not just that. So when we're talking about this case, what is the primary thing we're discussing? We're discussing damage to business, right? That's part of the tortious interference claim. So as part for Hales, part of that is what the hells. Now, who is part of what the hells? George. So it is damaging.
But who is George really?
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Yes, if people miss
George
that,
is the other half of what the Hales, and there's no getting around that. And George is, yes, she's defamed in this, but so is Jeremy. That the brand is defamed.
Oh, and it's really gross defamation too. I mean, that is damnable, gross.
And it's classic, easily provable defamation. I mean, this is one of those things. It's demonstrably false. It is said with malicious intent, and it caused harm. Those are the elements, idiots.
Yeah, well, I love the argument. Well, if we did it, then it doesn't say if really. I mean, the way it's written out, it's terribly written.
It says I have it.
Assuming this was a false statement of fact. So they're saying it happened.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't say assuming you posted it, but assuming it's false. I mean, what a terrible way to say that.
Well, he's not very good at this lawyering thing.
I think it's on purpose.
I don't know if you've noticed.
I think it's intentional defamation. I think that Bruce does some of this stuff on purpose. And then we're all like, well, he's just an idiot, right? And maybe that's not idiocy. Maybe that's him just being an, piece of garbage because that's what he does.
That tracks.
I'm wondering. I do wonder.
Yeah, wait, Paula just brought this up. So they are admitting that they are defaming George then, regardless.
Yes, exactly.
And if they're doing it to George, they're doing it to Jeremy. It doesn't matter. It's called a pattern. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Very, very good observation.
Yep.
They
That's
admit
exactly what I'm saying.
It's defamatory to her. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's like, if it's false, well, okay. Like, what's gross is what's their defense then? Well, it's true. No,
it's really defaming her.
No. Yeah, their whole thing is if it's false, then gross, man. No, I mean, it's just so many levels. But like I said, the way he words that, he is terrible with some of this stuff. But again, that almost reads like an accusation.
Way to take on, liability there, Bruce. Good job. Great job. Great job. The plaintiff did not seek to amend the complaint to add statements produced in response to first summary judgment motion and or the present motion. In response to the first motion for summary judgment, the plaintiff produced numerous social media posts and comments, as well as private chat messages supplied by unknown third parties, and indiscriminately deemed them all defamatory. The same documents were also produced for extortion and tortious interference. Those pertaining to Mr. Cook are contained in these documents here. It is expected that the plaintiff will interpose yet more new allegedly defamatory statements in an attempt to overcome the present summary judgment motion.
You mean discovery? You mean, is that what we're talking about? Discovery. Well, it's basically his argument is you can't add anything else ever. That's anything that wasn't contained there. You're not allowed to bring that in, and that's not how that works.
Right. It isn't, because new evidence comes in all the time and you're allowed to add it. The plaintiff did not seek to amend the complaint to add any of the statements contained in documents this through that, or any of the statements contained in any of the documents produced by the plaintiff in response to discovery. The 11th Circuit recently upheld summary judgment where the plaintiff sought to rely on defamatory statements in opposition to summary judgment that had not been alleged in the complaint. The district court correctly refused to consider defamatory statements Grayson alleged in his opposition to summary judgment that he had omitted from and never sought to add by amendment to his second amended complaint, Grayson v. No Labels. The district court ruled, and we agree, that Dukes offered her alternative argument too late in an improper attempt to amend her complaint. A plaintiff may not amend her complaint through argument in a brief opposing summary judgment. Gilmore v. Gates. Okay.
In a brief amendment through an argument against summary
In a
judgment,
opposing summary judgment. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's very specific, though. That's not
right.
That's not what we're arguing here. That's so weird. Although the plaintiff raised them for the first time in opposition to summary judgment, even if they are considered, they are nothing more than a hodgepodge of opinion, hyperbole, and insults, none of which are actionable as defamation. You know what's crazy? So he's finally saying what we've been saying forever. That there are certain things out there that are protected. Know what they are. Know exactly what they are. Know what is hyperbole. Know what is opinion, insults, and statements of fact. But I'd wondered where somebody on 2Ls brought up rhetorical hyperbole the other day. And it's like, I wonder who they picked that up from. They picked it up from this. They had read it before it published. So that's what it told me. They had seen it. I was like, because that's not their word, and it's right there, rhetorical hyperbole. So if they were, the courts would be inundated by people like the plaintiff every time their feels were hurt. They were subject to a nasty comment on social media, regardless of whether it was intended to convey false factual information. So again, now they're admitting that they've said things, but now they're leaning on that. This is getting more interesting because
they're admitting that they're admitting it was nasty. Interesting.
Yeah, they're just trying to say it's opinion now. So, again, calling somebody a PDF file is not.
It's not an opinion.
It's not at all an opinion. I mean, calling someone a walrus, let's just say.
That's an opinion.
Yes. You can, or you can
calling
make fun.
Someone
You don't
fat.
have to be nice. Yeah. Very much
calling someone stupid, calling them an idiot. None of that is defamatory. That's just an opinion. It's subjective. It's an opinion. It's protected. But if you make a statement of fact, if you allege that someone committed a crime, you can be held liable for those statements if those statements were untrue and if you meant them in a malicious way to harm someone. And I think we have plenty of evidence that these people are doing everything they do to harm him. They've said it. They've said they want to take down his YouTube empire. They want to have him removed from YouTube permanently. They want to see his channel dead. They want to see him dead. There's no compunction but from these people about what their intention is, and it's all malicious. He's not going to have to prove that. It's provable.
Let me ask AI, is calling someone a pedophile rhetorical hyperbole? Let's just see. I want to see what it says. Absolutely not.
Nope. You can be.
It's like, you probably don't want to do
that.
I'm going to ask Grok that. Let me ask Grok real fast.
You don't want to do that. No. While you're doing that, I have a couple of super tips to play. So we'll do that. Becky Fierrek, thanks for the 5. Didn't play. What the heck? What happened? Let me try it again. Uh-oh.
Thanks for the silence.
Wait a minute. What about Ria's? Will Ria's work? Uh-oh. We have a super tip.
Whack on there.
I don't know. I'm going to refresh and see what happens. Let's see. Let me go back down to the one I missed. Let's try sticky. Uh-oh. Something's wrong. They're not playing. Wait. I may have. No, I didn't.
Did you
do
break
that.
something?
I didn't. I wasn't pushing anything. Oh my God. This is going to be terrible.
Roy's like, hey, Grok is Tug's Magic 8-Ball. It is. I love playing with that. I actually love playing with Chat GPT these days. I've been having a lot of fun with it.
All right. You figure out. Okay. You do what you were going to do, and I will figure this out because we will make them play.
You want me to bring that document back up? Or
what was Grok? What did Grok say about your...
Grok says no. There could be an instance where that potentially you could use it, but unfortunately, that is a serious accusation that implies a specific harmful act. So I mean, there's where it hits. Context can be a key, but even with context, again, you're implying a specific, very harmful act. So no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Megan, early is on time.
There.
On time is late, and 17 minutes after is really, really late.
I wonder what was that then? Did it just get stuck or something?
I do not
Did you break
know.
something?
I don't know, but I went over to OBS and just messed around with over there, and now suddenly it works again. So okay, let me go back and play the ones that I missed, because now we have it, and let me just make sure. Let me make sure I got it all. Yeah, okay, they're up here. Here we go. Keith Peavy House, thanks for the 5.
I always miss the beginning of streams, so I rewind and skip the intro song. Man, that shutty is awesome.
You have to spell out the word or won't know what to say. Thanks for the 5, Becky Fearwreck.
I'm working on filing a file that explains my filings.
That's good. Rhea Norman, thanks for the 5.
Want to look at my motion? It's in the blue bucket. Want to look at my motion? It's in the blue bucket.
Why is it repeating itself? Great. Super Tip is having issues right now. Jason 99705, thanks for the 5.
Megan and Tug are always right and make my anxiety go away.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, actually.
That's
And
nice.
Jason also sent another 5.
The Grangers are great people and I should leave them alone.
I agree with that. Yes.
Yes.
The Grangers are great people and they should be left alone.
Well,
And okay, so I'm glad we fixed that.
you could be
because that
talking
scared
about
me.
you could be talking about a 50,000 plus whatever costs are accrued through this next trial, but you're already talking about a potentially $50,000+ bill. You know,
Oh
for
yeah.
messing with them. I mean, we're talking. That's what that case is about.
They should
It's
stop
about
messing with
$50,000.
everybody. Here's an idea. Stop messing with everybody and just go live your life. Stop. Just stop. Quit it.
I'm just shocked that that's it. They've taken the easy payout. They think that that's going to save them. You know?
You want to put the filing back up?
Oh yeah. Mhm. I thought you were still loading somewhere.
No, I got them. I got the ones that we missed, and
yeah.
so we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always remove my stuff. Like after it's off there, I remove it. So I don't pull anything up and lock onto it on accident. Who knows what the hell you can lock onto on accident? You know?
True.
So, as a general rule, a plaintiff cannot base defamation claim on opinion, non-literal assertions of fact, or rhetorical hyperbole. Again, non-literal assertions of fact. They want to play at that. Again, they're admitting their statements, but that's a fascinating thing. They're coming along. So again, they give the, protected by all of this stuff again, but the First Amendment, we don't need that part. Courts decide whether a given statement is one of fact, opinion, or rhetorical hyperbole as a matter of law. Okay. A defamation claim may not be actionable when the alleged defamatory statement is based on non-literal assertions of fact. The First Amendment proves protection for rhetorical hyperbole that cannot reasonably be interpreted as stating actual facts about an individual.
Okay, well, they're really bad at it. They're really bad about it. They're bad at this rhetorical, what is it? Rhetorical hyperbole. Because it's not hyperbolic. It sounds like you're saying a statement of fact. When you say, I have a picture of your fiance doing these things to me, Where is the hyperbole? Where is the rhetorical nature of that? There isn't one. It is not rhetorical. It is not hyperbole to say, I have a picture. You can't take this one down. That's not hyperbole, and it's not rhetorical. That doesn't make any sense.
When you put up signs about somebody and you're saying, hey, check out this sign here, this person, we need, no Ohio arpist. This person, what about I don't want to say his name, but his name there, arped my daughter. I mean, that's pretty much, how is that rhetorical hyperbole?
It's not, it's a statement of fact.
Yeah, it's very much a statement of fact.
Let me give you a definition of rhetorical hyperbole. It is protected speech under the First Amendment and refers to exaggerated statements not meant to be taken literally, but used for effect, often in political or expressive contexts. So here's an example. A political protest slogan calling a politician the worst tyrant in history. Now, that is definitely hyperbolic. I would say, yes, that's hyperbole because you can't categorize the worst, right? There's many, many examples, and you could argue for years with different historians about who is the worst tyrant in history, and still people won't agree, right? So it's a hyperbolic statement to say this guy is the worst because we don't know who the worst is. Now, satirical commentary, a cartoon depicting a public figure destroying the planet to criticize environmental policies, is protected as artistic expression. Everyone would agree to that. Everyone. Public debate rhetoric, saying a company's product will ruin your life in a heated online review if clearly opinion-based and not asserting specific facts. All right, well, that makes sense. Those things are rhetorical and they are hyperbolic. What is not rhetorical hyperbole is saying, I have a photo of your fiance in a sexual position with this person, and I'm going to post it online. How is that? How is anyone supposed to take that as hyperbolic?
No, it's not. I mean, they know that that's not it.
I don't think they do know. I really think they believe that they can.
I think
that
BBB
they can
knows
say these
better. I think BBB knows better. I think he does. I think he knows what he shouldn't be doing. But at the same time, I think BBB is giving people some mixed signals. I think he's telling some other people they could get away with things that perhaps they shouldn't, think that they could. That's why they act like they do, because they've had a lawyer chirping in their ear. The thing that I'm wondering about that is at what point do they turn on that lawyer? Because that lawyer gave them terrible information. These people are not people I would trust not to turn on me. I mean, they have made some pretty interesting life decisions along the way. So I would not think in the best of days that they're going to be nice or true. Oh, by the way, I found those Scott Stark reviews again. We were talking about them.
Oh, yeah, those are so funny. By the way,
pull those up for you tomorrow.
The ecosystem, yeah, you should, because they're hilarious. The ecosystem, by the way, and they're idiots that they're journalists for hire. They're journalist hacks for hire. I should just call them hacks for hire. They keep referencing Flint versus Falwell, like that, the defamation case. They keep referencing that in relation to this. It is so not the same thing. Let me tell you why. And I'm sick of hearing them bring this up. I'm sick of it. Because in Hustler magazine, Larry Flint had this like weekly thing that he would do in the magazine talking about, I think it was an advertisement for a certain type of liquor. And it was talking about their first time. And the first time was supposed to really about drinking the liquor, but they would put all these sexual references in it to make it funny, right? It was all about my first time having this particular drink, but then it would make it sound like, something sexual. So it was an ad, and it was depicting, I'll tell you how Grok describes it. Depicting Falwell describing his first time as a drunken sexual encounter with his mother in an outhouse. It used crude, exaggerated language to mock Falwell's public image as a moral crusader. But a disclaimer was at the bottom of it stating that it was ad parody and not to be taken seriously. And it was listed in the magazine's table of contents as fiction, ad, and personality parody. In what context was there ever a note on the signs that said, this is not to be taken seriously, it is fiction, it is parody, none of it is true? No. These were statements of fact made about Jeremy Hales. In no way were they funny. In no way was it a joke. It was simply an attack on a man and his reputation. There was no underlying message. There was no, this is because he's we're doing this to mock his Christianity or his whatever. There was no disclaimer in any way on any of it. And that's why it is different than what Hustler magazine did to Jerry Falwell. Period.
Well, they're talking to idiots that will not ever look up any of this stuff. So, they buy a surface level argument without ever looking into what this stuff is about at all. Man, I found another screenshot that I don't remember, but this answers a question, by the way, that I had at one time. Check this out. So, talking about BBB taking aim at Hales and taking aim at Hales' family. There's a discussion when they all pulled Hales' son up. There was a discussion of how much involvement Bruce had, right? We've had that before. Like, did he actually get involved or these other people do it? Well, I found this and I'd forgotten about it. So this is a Veteran Nation, it's before his chat. And in here we have Bruce and he's saying, hey, you could watch that or you could come here, Jeremy's kid, live on 2Ls at 8 p.m. Huh, that's fascinating. I'd forgotten about this. That's interesting because, there had been this whole argument. A lot of people have made it too, saying, well, these people, they're the ones that did it. These people alone, they did it. No, it looks like a entire ecosystem got together, and had them yet another attack, another conspiracy where they did that. It's fascinating to see. It's disgusting and shitty, but it's also fascinating to see Bruce's involvement in that too. It's the same thing he tried to pull with the people you were just talking about there, with the bullies for hire. I didn't know about them.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Man, it's the game they play, man. It's a nasty little game that they've been playing. And oh man, I don't know, man. I've never seen anybody go as far as they have with some of the stuff they've done. I've seen some people do some crazy things, but I've just never seen anybody go this far.
All right, where are we at?
It is for the court to decide, matter of law, whether the complaint of words are actionable expressions of fact or non-actionable expressions of rhetorical hyperbole. I agree. Yes, the court does get to decide.
It is for the court. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. A statement is considered rhetorical hyperbole when the language itself negates the impression that the writer was seriously maintaining that the plaintiff committed the particular act, forming the basis of the defamation. I like my definition better, but okay.
Yeah.
Although rhetorically, well, this is kind of poorly written. Although rhetorically hyperbolic statements may at first blush appear to be factual, they cannot reasonably be interpreted as stating actual facts about their target. In determining whether an allegedly defamatory statement is an expression of fact or an expression of rhetorical hyperbole, context is paramount. Yeah, I agree. Context is paramount. And I don't know what context those signs, Jeremy Hales arped my daughter, could possibly be hyperbolic. Mm-hmm. Or I just don't see
all the
scenario.
The stuff that they've said and they posted online about his, claiming that he has an obsession with, and, insert comments about children here, those kind of things. How exactly would you label that again as hyperbole? How?
Yeah, I can't think of a way to do that. I really can't. Tortious interference. The elements of tortious interference with a business relationship are 1, the existence of a business relationship, 2, knowledge of the relationship on the part of the defendant, 3, an intentional and unjustified interference with the relationship by the defendant, and 4, damage to the plaintiff as a result of the breach of the relationship. A protected business relationship need not be evidenced by an enforceable contract. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Because they're always,
he actually
where's the
puts in some
contract?
stuff in there.
Where's the contract? However,
Yep.
the alleged business relationship must afford the plaintiff existing or prospective legal or contractual rights.
They also play this game where they want to pretend like YouTube. You don't have a contract with YouTube. We all have a contract with YouTube if you're monetized. You do. You sign on. You become part of their partner program.
It's called the
plenty of-
YouTube Partner Program, right?
Yeah.
And not everybody on YouTube is part of the partner program. You have to be invited, and then you have to sign a new thing, agreeing to certain things, and that is a contract. Duh.
It's just so bizarre because they make, they pretend that there's only a contract with whatnot. No, there's contract with all these other companies out
There's
there.
contracts
too.
with Facebook. That when you get monetized, there's contracts with Facebook. There's contracts with YouTube. Contracts with TikTok, Instagram, all of them. When you get monetized, you have a separate contract.
I just don't
Okay,
understand that.
so then a protected business. Okay, we got that. Okay, scroll down. Scrolling. In Florida, a plaintiff may properly bring a cause of action alleging tortious interference with present or prospective customers, but no cause of action exists for tortious interference with a business's relationship to the community at large. All right, and then there's a citation.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
As a general rule, an action for tortious interference with business relationship requires a business relationship evidenced by an actual and identifiable understanding or agreement, which in all probability would have been completed if the defendant had not interfered. Yes, you could apply that with any of these businesses. When you're going out, striking videos, attacking things, they've done that. They keep doing that to Shara. That's a fascinating thing. Shara being monetized now. Shara actually has a claim for tortious interference because they are interfering with her money. They're putting their hands in her pockets and they have no real claim. So they give examples. Well, actually, let's read some of it. One of those was good, to be honest. One of those actually worked for Jeremy more than them. So the court held that tortious interference with business relationship requires proof that the plaintiff had a business relationship with identifiable customers. Okay. Court upheld dismissal of tortious interference claim on the ground that the complainant did not identify the customers who were subject to the alleged interference. As Supreme Court said in another, an action for tortious interference with business relationships generally requires a business relationship evidenced by an actual and identifiable understanding or agreement, which in all probability would have been completed if the defendant not interfered. Again, that's a repeat of the last thing. Good job. God, what an idiot.
Good job. Great job.
I was like, you could say, I was
Great
like, did I
job.
read that twice? That's what I was
Yeah.
doing there. I was like, wait, did I? Nope, there it
Great.
is, right there.
Great job. Great job, Bruce. Great job editing.
God.
And when I say great job, I mean you suck.
God, that's so dumb. The cause of action
bad.
cannot be established by proof that the defendant interfered with the relationship between plaintiff and public at large. Yet that is precisely the basis of the claim asserted in this case. No, it is not. It is not, quote unquote, the public at large. That's why he said, we will have experts come in. We will be able to identify X, Y, and Z. Do that. The plaintiff alleges that the conduct, although I would say that's part of defamation. If there's a claim so bad that it could damage a person, like calling them a PDF file, that's what the magistrate was talking about when they said, yes, this case can go forward, about damages and more. I think you might be in for a rude awakening on how this plays. So the plaintiff alleged that the conduct in question resulted in general loss of business. But even if that can be proven, it would not amount to tortious interference with business relationship as defined in the case there. Finish this sentence. Because the interference alleged here is not specific, the claim must fail.
More recently, in this other case, the defendants all allege that the complaint is legally insufficient because it does not identify with any specificity the parties with whom Bortel claims interference by merely stating that they constitute a group of finite marine clients. We agree this cause of action requires a bit. Okay, do you see where he has the ellipsis? We agree, dot, and he did the ellipsis wrong, by the way. There should only be 3, not 4, with a space in between one.
Yeah.
But he's cut out an entire
like
portion. I wonder what it actually said. We agree, dot, dot, dot. This cause of action requires a business relationship evidenced by an actual and identifiable understanding or agreement, which in all probability would have been completed if the defendant had not interfered. Bortel alleged merely that a finite group of marine crew clients existed without identifying any actual clients with whom he had an agreement, which in all likelihood would have been completed but for the defendant's interference. I know he's cut something out. Yeah, he's cut something out.
I'm curious about it because I bet you could find this quote if you probably search for it. Now I want to know what that says. I want to know if it's something that actually mattered. I've already found under, again, you have to scroll, but under like find law, decisions are up, talking about that. And his surface level searches that he did before, I found quite a few of his sourcing just like this, just by going in and pulling that up. Once he told us that he copies and pastes, that's how he does things. That was amazing. It was kind of crazy to find that out.
The single action rule precludes recasting defamation as tortious interference. The only factual allegation alleging interference with customers is paragraph 31 of the complaint. Despite knowing the falsity of their statements, Preston and Cook used their defamatory statements to persuade Hales' customers to stop supporting Hales. There are no further facts alleged as to how the defendants persuaded customers to stop supporting Hales, what type of support was impacted, what specific customers stopped supporting Hales as a result of the defendant's alleged statements, or what revenue was lost. Oh, just wait for it. The lost revenue for sure is coming because they have an expert doing the math.
They're playing this game too, where they're pretending that everything's done. This makes it sound like we've already gone through everything for discovery. We've already had everything laid out. And after that, these would be the kind of arguments you make after every card is on the table and all the filings are complete with that. Then you start arguing like this. I mean, they jumped the gun with it. And interestingly, this tells Randy exactly what the argument's going to be. I mean, what it looks like specifically. So if he wants to gear up, if he thinks there's anything in here that might actually work, which I'm not seeing it, but if he did, he could prepare for it. You never let that's like when I've had lawyers, they were always, their decisions on everything revolved around you let the other side show you all their cards and you never let them know. You never play anything until you have to. And that Bruce does that. He plays things out before he has to. That's why he loses so many, because it's not just bad arguments. It's also doing something too soon. I mean, if he had a good argument, he would still lose it because of the way he presents things.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
In his live deposition on December 19th in front of the court, the plaintiff admitted that the phrase used their defamatory statements to persuade customers to stop supporting Hales was a contrived phrase devoid of any meaning beyond making the alleged... No, he didn't. He did not. He did not admit that it was a contrived phrase devoid of any meaning. Where is your quote for this? Where is the quote for this alleged thing?
Their quote, this is amazing.
Oh, okay. This is it right here? Here's it. Okay.
No, this is great. Oh, now look at this. All right. Look at what they stop with. All right. You could cut anything out of the depot. Yeah. You could cut it any way that you want to. You could put 10 or 15 more questions attached to the bottom, whatever. Yeah. But they decide to remind the judge that the statement, Jeremy Hale's ARPed, that one, they decided to end on that. Why would you do this? That is a terrible decision as a defense lawyer.
I don't know. I just don't. Let's read through this. I'll do the Q and you do the A's?
Yeah, that's fine.
Paragraph 31, the complaint says, despite knowing the falsity of their statements, Preston and Cook used their defamatory statements to persuade Hale's customers to stop supporting Hale's. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
The question is, apart from the statements themselves, what did Preston and Cook do that you're describing as, quote, using their defamatory statements to persuade Hale's customers to stop supporting Hale's?
Please rephrase your question.
Yes, other than the actual statement itself that they make and you reference here, what are they doing to use those statements to persuade people to not support you?
The statement of Jeremy Hales ARPed my daughter is more than enough to persuade a customer not to support me. Nothing else needs to be said or done.
So how does he figure? Go back up. How did he state this? How does he figure that was admitting that it was a contrived phrase devoid of any meaning?
It doesn't say that's the end all either. Like it doesn't say that's everything.
Right.
But he treats it like this is the only statement that was ever made. Well, you know, what's amazing to me in this even more, like I was saying, okay, if you go over to the exhibit for this, right? I'm going to cut over to the other document because I don't want to lose our spot here. But if you go over to the, if you go over and you look at the exhibit here, what you'll notice is, again, here's his excerpt. You'll notice that with this, here is where he decided to cut off. He could have added more, like, hey, let me just add this right here, you know, so it doesn't look bad about my client, you know, but he didn't. He decided to end on that statement too. Why would you do that? Oh, that's terrible. I would put the whole damn page in there before I would have freaking ended on a statement where, I mean, that's the worst thing. The judges said, this is terrible. Like that's why we move forward. Because of those statements.
Absolutely.
Anyway, there's nowhere that this is said. He just adds words.
He's just misleading the court. This one's you.
Well, when he got,
we're almost done with it. We're on page 10. Look at us go.
And then, like I said, most of it's add-ons. So there are no facts alleged as to any specific business loss by the plaintiff or any specific customers the defendant allegedly persuaded to stop supporting Hales, or how that led to financial loss, and the general allegations of lost business or revenue stream is insufficient. The complaint does not allege an actual and identifiable understanding or agreement, which in all probability would have been completed if the defendants had not interfered. Really? Well, 2L is going to have some real problems with that one. Oh my God. Paragraph 31 of the complaint shows that tortious interference claims are nothing more than a recasting. So this was a Randy argument. Remember the single rule action, or the single action rule rather, that Randy brought up, where he was saying, you can't make these counterclaims. Like, you can't do this because you can't reframe defamation as all this other stuff. You can't do that. Well, they decided to try to add that to their argument. I thought that was kind of funny. So they've taken the Randy argument. That's what we're seeing here. So Florida single action rule precludes this. The single publication or single action rule precludes the recasting of defamation claims as additional distinct causes of action in a tort if all the claims arise from the same defamatory publication. The rule is designed to prevent plaintiffs from circumventing a valid defense to defamation by recasting essentially the same facts into several causes of action, only to compensate for the same harm.
Casnoff, Harvey, blah, blah. The state of Florida provides for a single publication, single action rule, which means a single publication may give rise to a single cause of action. This rule prohibits multiple actions which arise from the same alleged wrong. Here, plaintiffs may not proceed on multiple claims for the same challenged defamatory actions. The claim for defamation cannot be recharacterized in additional separate counts for libel, slander, or the intentional infliction of emotional distress if the claim arises from the same publication. But I can tell you, I'm pretty sure that he's misread this one too. That's what I'm just going to let you know that I think he's misread it.
I think that he grabbed, like I said, the Randy argument. When he saw it, he was like, oh my God, that right there.
Yeah.
I kind of love it, to be honest. I love the fact that I can recognize. When I read that, I was like, wait a minute. That's from one of Randy's filings. I remember it very well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Unreal. All right. This is you, I think, right?
I don't know, is it?
Or am I
No,
still
wait.
on?
Yeah, you're still
Oh, no, it's me. Okay. There is no evidence of interference with Whatnot. In his December 19th live deposition, the plaintiff identified only one contract he claims the defendants interfered with, Whatnot. But admitted, well, that's not true either, because in the deposition, he said they interfered with Facebook and YouTube. And we have the
Yes.
letters that Bruce wrote to YouTube. So
we
off
have
you
some
flop.
interesting stuff with Whatnot. You know, the stuff
Yeah.
he pulled. That's going to be an interesting conversation to see how that's.
I can't believe Bruce put this in his own, this letter to Whatnot in his evidence. I can't believe he did this because it's so defamatory towards Jeremy. I mean, it's just like, what? What are you doing?
I would love to see all of his communications with Whatnot. If he, that one we saw was so bad.
So bad.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see the rest of them. Just to see exactly, because I'm like, man, if he made those comments so casually, what that tells you too is that anyone he's talking to, he's making comments like that any chance he can get it.
Oh, any chance he gets. Yep. I'll read Q and you read A again. Do you have evidence that John Cook made direct contact with Whatnot of any kind at any time?
I will contact Whatnot and find out who contacted them.
Do you have any evidence that Michelle Preston, Lynette Preston, contacted Whatnot directly at any time?
I have evidence of your clients saying, report everything that I do, which we actually looked at in your exhibits earlier here this morning. So, I mean, that's, they do have contact, by the way. We read that. So there was contact. His argument is just, you don't have an account specifically with this name from this state. That's his argument.
Do you have any evidence that Lynette Michelle Preston directly contacted Whatnot?
I will contact Whatnot and find out if she did. Okay. So this is everything. The plaintiff refused to produce a copy of Whatnot contract in response to the defendant's discovery request, despite assurances of confidentiality. Oh yeah, you've been real good at keeping stuff in, confidential, haven't you, Bruce? I mean,
yeah, right.
Oh my God.
He leaks everything.
Well, you know what's really messed up about that? I mean, right now, these people, they would be giving it to John Preston, or John Cook, rather, and Lynette Preston, if they're pro se.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd be giving it to them before anyway, but, I mean, the people who try to destroy your life, hey, turn these... turn
the documents over to them?
Yeah, turn all information. That's crazy, man.
That is crazy.
And I did not file any motion seeking protection from disclosure or an order of confidentiality. Whatnot's general counsel confirmed that neither Preston or Cook contacted Whatnot. See Exhibit C. So blah blah blah. Based on that, summary judgment. So this was what Bruce was saying. He had waited the entire case to put together. This is the best he could do.
Yeah, it was pretty weak, if you ask me. Pretty weak. And I'm sure they're going to refile it. And I don't really expect it to go anywhere. I mean, the judge has already said these are jury questions.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff you're talking about. That's why he didn't want summary judgment motions. These are jury questions, and we are going to have this in front of a jury. So I don't expect that that's going to go anywhere, but we'll see. I'm going to hit super chats. Do you want to stick around, or do you have to go?
I'll set it for a few. If I've got to go, I'll bounce.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Paula Broadworth, thanks for the 5. I looked it up, and being pro se with the order out of Ohio, LMNOP and JC contacting Randy is considered third-party contact. They can get a violation for it. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Although Judge Grudge, I remember they brought that argument to him because his attorney was like, I don't think I can talk to them, because he asked Mark Feather to talk to them about something. And he was like, I don't think I can. That goes against the Ohio order. And the judge was like, well, then how are you supposed to get any work done? Like when they're pro se. And it's like, well, that's not really my problem. That's their problem. Like maybe they should go hire a lawyer. But that's a very good point, Paula. Ray, aka Ball Python King, member for 5 months. It's Jeremy's fault. Well, we know that.
Yeah, that's pretty much been the defense.
It's always his fault. Hey, it's me. So thanks for the $10 super sticker. And what a beautiful photo in your avatar. Wow. I wonder where that is. It looks amazing. And look at that sunset. It's pretty. Sticky Widget gifted 10 Megan Fox memberships. Wow. Welcome to the Fox Den, all 10 of you. I hope that you love it here. And if you don't, it's too bad. You're stuck. You're in. You're in for life now. Dan Davis, thanks for the 2. You need to get one of Jeremy. Wait, you need one of Jeremy Hale's Get Out of Grounded card. Rat says 67, thanks for the 2. Always late. That's what we call Indian time. Really? Is that a thing? That's funny. Jack's mom, thanks for the 2. Will the Granger VLP case be heard before the Fed case? I'm not sure. I mean, Judge Davis is on a different time table, so who knows? I don't know where that case stands at the moment,
It depends on. Yeah, well, it's just starting. Honestly, they just got served with it, and so. But again, with all the delays, freeze ups in cases, and everything, who knows? You really have.
But
no
now
idea
that
how
she's been
things move.
served, she has 30 days to file a response, something like that. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
got to
gonna be-
start going. It's got to start going soon.
That should be fascinating. I found the.
Yes.
I was going through old Bruce posts, by the way, and
Mhm.
I found where he posted he was bragging about being pro hoc VJ on this case. It just made me laugh. I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
such a
whoops! I guess, I guess that was his win." He was like, "Yeah, baby." It's like, well, about that, Bruce.
Yeah, I wonder if he saw it coming that he was going to have his pro hoc VJ status revoked at some point.
Yeah,
Although
don't you know
I
everything
don't
he
know.
does
That
is his
hasn't
master
happened yet.
plan?
Yeah,
That's
right.
that was his master plan, though, to have to withdraw from the case because everything is planned by Bruce. Haven't
Oh
you
my
learned that
God.
yet?
Yes, everything is planned. And Buck Naked, thanks for the 5. A judge might be able to access sealed records for relevant cases. What's Grudge doing now? Oh, he wouldn't dare. He wouldn't dare. There's no way. He wants nothing to do with any of this anymore. His career is in the toilet because of it. So, number 1, Cat Whisperer became a YouTube member. Welcome to the Fox Den. It's weird here. There are strange animal noises, sometimes tug roars, but you'll get used to it. I promise.
Yeah,
William Allen, thanks to the 5. Granger and Granger case should be called the Tree Strangers.
That's true. That's true. We could call it the Tree Stranger case.
Look at all these beautiful pictures people are using for their icons today. Look at these sunsets. Is something going around with the beautiful sunsets? Iowa Gal, thanks for the 5. Ecosystem dredging up Jeremy's divorce is lower than Slug Slime. Sorry, Slug. They are getting very close to going off the deep end. I think they've already gone off the deep end. They're definitely over the waterfall at this point. And what's at the bottom is a bunch of sharp rocks. It's not going to feel good when they hit the bottom. Max Lab, thanks for the 2. LP will be pro se since she didn't get a lawyer. Well, did she already hit the 30 days or whatever it was? I wasn't counting. Max Lab, can you let me know if you were counting how many days she had and what that date was?
Yeah, I can't remember the date when it all starts myself.
Michael Dean, thanks for the 2. Megan sent you an email about number 7. Number 7? What's number 7? Oh, you mean number 7 on the complaint? Okay, hold on. Let me check my email real quick. Did you just send it tonight? Because I don't see one tonight. And if it's before tonight, it's buried. So, was it this one? Trespass Strikes Back? That's funny. We need to call it the Trespass Strikes Back lawsuit. I like it. Tug, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Trespass Strikes Back. That's so funny.
I'm still stuck on Tree Strangers. Yeah, still stuck on
Tree
that.
Strange is strangely it goes with Little People in the Walls. It's like Tree Strangers
I mean, it's
and
just
Little People in
funny.
the Walls.
It just makes
There
me
could be
laugh.
a really good children's book about tree strangers.
The
and Little
Tree
People in the Walls.
Strangers. Oh my God. Never walk with a tree stranger.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So I just got an email saying paint chips might have some problems. LOL. He claims litigation privilege on the gross, disgusting things he is saying. But that is for counsel for filings, right? Also, he isn't a litigant yet or even a lawyer anymore. So there is no privilege. You are not considered a litigant until you've been served. So you haven't been served. So yeah, nothing you're saying is under.
Whoops.
Yeah. Oops.
Whoopsie. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Jack Miles, thanks for the 2. Megan, email. Well, you people in your... Okay, Jack, you're the one who told me the trespass strikes back. That's funny. I like trespass strikes back. Dana Phillips, thanks for the 10. I messaged George yesterday a couple times about their day out for her birthday. My heart was full of joy. Last night, my heart broke again, and we messaged, and I just wanted her to give Jeremy a hug. Yeah, it's not fun to watch. Andre Lozier, thanks for the Canadian 2. The Misfits, L and J, need to be spanked like brats. I don't know if that would help them at this point. Rozilla's, they need to be spanked by the law is what needs to happen.
Yeah, they might like it if you spank them. So
yeah, they might. Rozilla's Realm, thanks for the 2. Deuce and Company to Alcatraz Fund. That's funny. And that's the end of the super chats. And I need to get over to Rumble. How you doing, Rumblers? I hope that you're doing well over there. Before I get over to Rumble, though, I do have a Cash App that came in earlier. Let me check that. And those of you who want to get your super tips in, now is the chance to get your last super tips in before the show is over. And I redirect you to Shizzy Wiznut, who will be streaming tonight. Richard sent $5 on Cash App and says entertainment fee. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. And also to Janice, who yesterday sent me a happy Mother's Day, $20 on Mother's Day, saying happy Mother's Day. And that was so sweet of you. I appreciate that, Janice. It says happy Mother's Day to my fellow Western New York girl. Thank you so much, Janice. I love that. And I appreciate you. And how's Rumble doing? I got to get over there and check out the Rumblers. Make sure I didn't miss any Rumble rants, because the other night I did. And I feel bad about that. I missed them. And I didn't read them, and I didn't.
Dare you?
I know. It's really bad. Let's see this. Where's the live chat? Where the heck is my Rumble? Is Rumble even on? Okay, is Rumble working? It looks like Rumble is working, but yeah, there's nothing. Okay, all right, it is working. Thank God. I was worried for a second.
You're not laughing at that. Never. It's hilarious. You're like, I need to do, wait, is it broken? No.
Oh no, I didn't even check. I swear I never check on Rumble, and then like it could be broken. I would have no idea. I would have zero idea. All right. Looks like we are all done. Thank you guys for coming tonight, for hanging out, for being here. I surely appreciate you. So does Tug. Don't forget to hit that like if you forgot to hit it on your way in. Hit it on your way out before you go see Shizzy Wiznut, and make sure you subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed if you had subscribed before. YouTube sometimes unsubscribes you because they suck, and we don't want that to impact your day. You know, make sure you're still subscribed. All right, we are out of here. Tug, you got anything you want to say before we leave?
No, just tomorrow. We will pick it up again tomorrow. We got some stuff to go off with, and yeah, I mean, we already have plans for some interesting things if there's no filing, but
right,
we'll see. You know, we're waiting for a big one to come down the pipes. It should be here soon enough.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for that motion for sanction, or not motion, order for sanctions against Bruce, which must be coming at some point. If it doesn't, Judge Blythow's going to look like a total fool, because he's all talk. He's all talk, and he punished one side.
Well, I just can't imagine this moving forward without it. I can't, like, without them doing this stuff. How would they move the case forward? Because you still have unfinished business.
Yeah, and I think that Randy would have a really good appeal issue to say the judge is biased. The judge lied and said he was going to sanction Bruce for all the terrible things he did, and then he didn't. Then he absolutely didn't.
No way. He's not. I think they're waiting on that. You know, the whole, hey, can I get the judge removed? I think they're still stuck on that. Now, how long is that going to take? I mean, that's a decent question too, because I mean, we've been sitting around waiting on that. How long does it take a judge to look at that and be like, yeah, this is garbage?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this judge just hates this case so much that he just doesn't
He's
care.
enjoying the break. Actually, he's like, oh
And, yeah, and he
man.
doesn't care. He doesn't want to know any more about this case. He wants to know less about this case.
His
But that's
statements about the case were, I mean, that caused appeal problems
aggravating.
too. I mean, honestly, that's more than anything. He made statements that you'd be like, look, his decisions on here, he needs to really be careful about what he does and make it like everything above board, because you never say like, I'm sick of this and I'm sick of all of y'all. That's I mean, you have to be careful. I've seen cases that have been appealed successfully because of statements like that from a judge, where they didn't like something involved and they got a little too vocal in it.
Oh, and he was very vocal. And we got another super tip that just came in from Mad Hatter. Let me put that up on the screen. Thanks for the 5, Mad Hatter.
We will never know about contracts since none of us are monetized.
Nice. It's
That's
true.
funny.
Also true. They're not going to have any problems with tortious interference. None of them have an actual business to tortiously interfere with.
That's true. Actually, that's very true.
It's true. It's very true. All right, everybody, you take care. Go tell Shizzy we said hello, and be good to one another. Be kind. And remember, don't contact anybody, and learn how to take a joke. That's what we all need to do. Everybody needs to lighten up, and we will keep you informed as to what's going on in this case. Tomorrow night we'll be on Tug's channel, That Umbrella Guy. Make sure you're subscribed over there and you turn your notifications on. See you later, guys.